I'm here with two of TSN's biggest beauties, Mike Johnson and Craig Button. Corwin's standing by, we'll get to him in a minute. But fellas, I never thought my hair would look better than yours, but here we are. How's it looking?
If your hair can look as good as Mike's at that age, you're going to be in good shape. You got a long ways to go, Jesse.
And that's why he's our director of scouting, because he knows what's up.
Apparently in the hair department too. But let's not talk about hair right now. Let's talk about the Winnipeg Jets. Mike, look, I'm looking at the Jets right now, and this has got to be the best roster since the 2017-2018 season. Where do you project the Jets finishing this year? And do you think that they could win the Stanley Cup?
So I think yes, they can win the Stanley Cup, Jesse. Now settle down. That doesn't mean they're going to, but I think they have a chance. They're a very, very good team. As far as the regular season goes, I think they should be shooting for home ice. I think that's where they'll end up. Second in the Central. Now, unfortunately, they play with Colorado. And Colorado, I think, is the best team in the league. Not just their division, but in the entire league. And will very likely win that division. So shooting for home ice, that should be their goal. And it's a very realistic one to achieve. And then once you get in the playoffs, we know that the best teams don't always have to win. We know that they would be more than capable of knocking off a Colorado in the second round if it ever came to that. It is a possibility. It's a long way to go until they get there. But they have all the makings, some experience, both by individual players and as a group collectively, some new bodies, a very good roster, a great goaltender. We just saw Montreal ride a great goaltender all the way to the Stanley Cup final. So they absolutely could win a Stanley Cup. But right now, I think they should be focused on trying to get home ice for the first round. That's a realistic goal.
Yep, Mike, I totally agree with you. And I think that this is a team that's in that upper echelon of teams that can compete for the Stanley Cup. You know, Colorado is the class of the division and certainly class of the NHL. There's no question about it. I think also for Kevin Cheveldayoff, Mike, you touched on the backup goaltender. You cannot tax Connor Hellebuck through the regular season and expect them to perform at the same level in the playoffs. So you're going to need to see what Eric Comrie can do. If he can't, you're going to have to get somebody else. But the trade deadline, examining where your team is at, seeing how they performed against some significant challenges, there's going to be another opportunity for Kevin Cheveldayoff to be aggressive, to try to put him in a better position to compete for the Stanley Cup.
Mike, Craig, it's a pleasure as always, fellas. You're the pros. But now I got to switch things over to my colleague, Corwin. All right, Corwin, let's hear it, buddy.
Okay, well, Jesse, I know you're obviously very excited about the Jets season and you're very optimistic. I know, I like some of the moves they made too, so I'm not trying to be too negative or anything. But I just want to say, don't you have some concerns about the fact that, really what the big moves that you made this offseason were also kind of like salary dumps from other teams?
No, I'm not. Because I look at a guy like Nate Schmidt who's had success in his career before. He was great in Vegas, good for Washington too. And he goes to the Canucks, plays on a pretty bad team last year, if we're being honest, that had its own injury issues. And he just didn't perform great for obvious reasons. Now he comes to the Jets. He gets to play with other pretty talented defensemen back there. Dylan is one guy. You get Josh Morrissey going, Neil Pionk. Doesn't have as much pressure to perform. Good forwards up front. I think there's a lot of potential for Nate Schmidt to find his old game. So I actually don't think that these are just salary dumps, and even if they are, whatever. We'll spend a little extra money. It's hard to get players to come to Winnipeg, okay? It's not exactly the most desirable city to go to for players in the league. I don't really get it because I think Winnipeg's an amazing city. But the reality is, if we have to overpay someone a little bit, let's just do it.
Hey, I'm not saying it can't happen. I'm just saying, before you go in thinking there's Stanley Cup contenders, division winners, and things like that, it's possible that Nate Schmidt doesn't return to his former form. But also, I don't know. I'm guessing because you're also probably banking on Josh Morrissey to bounce back a little bit. Do you think you'll have a couple bounce back seasons from guys?
Okay, well, let's talk about specifically Josh Morrissey, because I think it's kind of a similar situation as Nate Schmidt last year when he was in Vancouver. Schmidt wasn't playing with great players on the back end. I don't think the Jets had a great defensive unit last year, and now he's going to be playing with better players. Still has some great forwards up front. Naturally, he's going to have a much better season. You know, when you take pressure off of someone and just allow them to be themselves, and you don't expect too much out of a player necessarily because you don't have to, I think it allows players, from a mental standpoint, I'm sure just it must be pretty relieving for him to have some more help back there. So I'm expecting some big things from Josh Morrissey. It's a clean slate, and I can't wait to watch the back end for the Jets this year.